start her up.
All right, so we're here talking about the terahertz wand. I guess also we could call it a terahertz blower, but I call it the terahertz wand. And there's two versions. I'm showing you the red version right now. There's actually, Joya, what color is the other one? Is it black?
I think it's silver.
Silver, okay.
I saw
yeah, and so the red one is more for like home use. The silver one would be more for commercial use if you're going to run it all day. And
right, it has, I'm sure, a different velocity and capability of
yes.
temperature control. It's
yes.
more stable for long term.
That's exactly right. So, Joya, before we get into this unit, what it does and some of the benefits of it, do you want to just give a quick overview of who you are and kind of your background?
Well, I'm actually a nobody. I spent about 5 years in the actual medical field with a CMT license, medical device retailer license, and a pharmacy license. I worked in home oxygen, and so that pharmacy license was to dispense home oxygen. However, for many years, since the 70s, I have been a science geek. I was taking tumors out of rats in the 7th grade. I had excellent teachers throughout my life, and very much hands-on experimental equipment that I brought in from the UK as well as Canada, and a lot of biofield studies using these different modalities with the physiology and seeing positive results firsthand. So professionally, I was actually elected to a homeopathic board, NEMA, in 2008 for the 2009 10-year as secretary treasurer. However, due to circumstances, I didn't fulfill that position and ended up leaving the state abruptly, and goes on with a lot of background in physics where we go from place to place.
Okay, I don't want to interrupt, but I have to interrupt and just say you're super brilliant. You do understand physics and engineering at a very high level. I sent you one of these units, what was it now, about 2.5 weeks ago, something like that, 2.5, maybe 3?
I've been in use at least 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
When it arrived, I was in a stage of walking pneumonia, very painful, and knowing about the technology, knowing how waves create a field, I was very excited to use the device. And once I used it, I was overwhelmed with the amazement of how pain to about a 1.5, I think is where I was at when I talked to you about 2 days later saying, wow. Oh my goodness, this is incredible. The difference I have seen in the areas I've used it, from my face to my neck, and due to the car accident I was in almost a year ago, this is the first relief other than a red bed therapy I did last summer for the pain relief, and the inflammation decreased. The kidney issue with the puffiness under my eyes has been incredible. I have just a little bit of puffiness under the left eye, and that has been there for over a year. So the instantaneous results due to the field that this wand projects instantaneously removes toxins at the cellular level, restructures the hydrogen-oxygen bond due to the very range of frequency that's being used in the red and the blue spectrum, creating this violet that is the base, or the negative DC that keeps every cell in this dielectric system maintaining equilibrium. So it literally is recreating a perfect field for cells to replicate, literally like the hand of God. Yeah. And I'm saying that not as someone that would take his name in vain, but literally a basis of creation that is created by the field with the heat and the frequency being projected.
Okay, that's perfect. And you know, the thing I like about this, and not to minimize the situation that you were in, because obviously that was very severe, but it's good that in addition to just looking at it as a device just to say what does it do, you actually used it on yourself and got incredibly good results from the pain and a lot of different issues that your body was dealing with, and all done, really in a relatively short time. To say that the pain level went from a 10.
It's instantaneous. If you're in pain and you've been on pain meds and you've had injury, you will know instantaneously that this field it's creating works.
Okay. And so
no one has to convince you. There's no placebo effect. That is not the case here. This would work if you were in a coma. It would still do the same thing, whether you had the ability to think or have that analogy that you felt something different.
Right. So, Joy, can I turn it on real quick and just run it for just a second, show them the basic thing, and then we'll get back into a little more description?
Please.
Okay.
It's incredible. I wish I was running mine at the same time.
Okay, so
really incredible for the pain I have been. It's incredible.
I'm super excited about that. So basically, you have the off switch. You have on, which is a high blower rate, but the heat is low. The second one, the blower rate is lighter, and the heat is not on. And then you have the max one, which basically has the maximum blower and the heat both. And we're gonna get into talk about that. But I want to try to keep this as short as possible because, like with anything, people ask, what does it do? How does it work? And will it help with this or that? And we can get into specific stuff, what it'll do, but let me just run it real quick. So I'm going to put it on max. You're going to actually see a light hit. And then I'll go light.
You don't have light on the wall. It's like cymatic.
I am putting it on the wall. And then I'll go max. And that's with the heat. And it's throwing off the energy pattern there as well. So, that's just giving you an idea. So let's shut this thing down. Now, let's break it down. The light itself is the light frequency that penetrates the body. Is that correct?
At least when you have it on the high setting, from what I recall, that specific unit, from the little bit of research I've done, I haven't been able to do enough. However, it penetrates up to 40 centimeters into the tissue, which is quite deep.
Right.
And I have actually a good friend of mine that I've used it on some horrific ulcers that came from a condition, and he's in the process of some hyperbaric as well. But the transmutation of the tissue and just the two times he was able to take treatments when he's home on the weekends, he's seen a great change as well. And what we noticed with his hyperbaric, it's reducing the size of the wounds considerably. However, the wand is creating a field where the toxins were released from that cellular structure as well. So releasing that out of the, I would say, a huge ulcer into a very small wound, and now he's gone through some tremendous wound care, and I just see tremendous value in this, along with other specific treatment plans in specific conditions, because of the cellular structure it's able to recreate immediately.
Okay, that's awesome. So the blue light, I guess, just to recap that, it does penetrate. So if a person has their clothes on or something, obviously, if you didn't have it.
Right, and that's wonderful about doing this treatment again on that ulcer, because of course it's bandaged, and it works through the bandaging, it works through the tissue directly to the source of the either inflammation or tissue that isn't performing properly, and it will reorganize those cells to use the waste product to actually recreate the cell. And it's basically through the colloids of life that are grown from the red blood cells into the extracellular fluid.
That's amazing.
It has to do with the spin, and this wand creates the proper field, so all the spin of the blood cells is to the right, which is healthy. because blood has a perfect pH, and it keeps these pleomorphic development of these bad elements at bay.
That's amazing. So, okay, so you've got the light, right? We've kind of just, I know we're skipping over this, but in an effort to keep the video short, and we'll go into more detail on other videos, but what is the blower doing? What is the heat in the blower doing? Do you have kind of a opinion on
what we've seen when this is going on, if we view the blood through a dark field microscope, the blood has a life that can be seen as colloids, these life forms that assemble from this extracellular fluid. So these colloids of life grow from the red blood cells into the extracellular fluid. It basically, those suffering from the electromagnetics that we are exposed to, that we find that what it does is these colloidal minerals, especially the first 33 in our elementary table, they create a biological transmutation, and they emit a wavelength specifically at 2 to 25 micrometers, and that's that infrared spectrum that terahertz wand creates. So the magnetic and dielectric changes in the density and temperature are the fundamental particle that light polarization, or the light becomes hard matter. Light becomes chemicals in matter that fundamentally are high energy. Light is electrochromodynamics, which is epigenetics. It affects the chromosomes at the DNA level, and it makes them perfect.
What is your overall assessment of this technology and its value?
Well, I'm going to say it's greater than penicillin ever thought of being, because it's part of the field that was created by the code that our creator used to create all things.